is Naima Issa Sebi. I'm a proud Nubian girl. And
Wow.
yeah, Nicholas and I today are going to try and make some interesting Nubian cuisines. And I hope you'll enjoy.
We are going to go through a lot because I
Yes.
want to know where Nubians came from, the foods, what it means to be a Nubian.
Wow,
You know,
that is a lot.
we have our stories where we come from,
Yes.
but your story is so interesting. It has that rich history. I think everyone would want to know.
Okay, I hope the history will be rich as you claim. I'm not, okay, a disclaimer first, I'm not an expert in Nubian, background and history.
What you have is enough.
But this is from the few research that I've done and also from talking to the elders and trying to understand what my origin is. So apparently the Nubi people who are called Nubians, but they are the Nubi, according to the constitution of this country,
Don't tell them now. They'll watch the video. They'll get all the information later. I want them to know, before even we go into the video, the name of the food.
Oh, so we're making one of the most interesting Nubian delicacies. We're going to make Gurusa. Also, we'll make mula kofta. Yeah, mula kofta.
Wow.
Kofta is, in simple English, maybe could mean minced meat, but this is not minced. It's kind of pounded, the traditionally pounded meat that is made the Nubian way. And then we're also going to make mula bamia. So mula bamia, all of you might be knowing bamia, okra in English, but when people are drinking it as juice, with the Nubians make it as sauce. So we're going to make bamia with beef. You can either make it with dry fish, you can make it with dry meat, but we're going to make it with fresh beef. Yeah, so those are the three things I think I should share because those are distinct and are like our ceremonial meals for the Nubi people.
So I think that is enough for the intro. So
Yes.
yeah, dive into the video. But as you watch, you can tell us what you think about this video or what you want to see next. Is there another tribe you want us to explore? This is the channel for you and this is the video for you. So let's go and see what they have for us.
Okay.
My brothers, my sisters, remember your heritage.
We're going to start with the main meal for the Nubi people, that is Gurusa. And one of the foods you're going to prepare, the prep for Gurusa is really long because it's supposed to be fermented. So we're supposed to put an element that helps it ferment. That this particular moment we're going to use yeast. You can either use instant yeast, but I prefer using this kind of yeast that we soak before and then mix it in the dough. So the other ingredient we're going to use is maize flour and baking flour. So that's what you use. The portion you use it for is, if it's 1 kilogram of maize flour, you have to put 1 kilogram of baking flour. And then we'll do the yeast and then mix the Gurusa mixture or the Gurusa butter for the viewers to see. Then we'll put it out in the sun to raise, allow it to raise and make the reaction, ferment a little bit. And then it will be ready for cooking. So let's start, and then you can see the procedure for making this. We're going to start with soaking the yeast in lukewarm water. And then as it raises and ferments and the yeast becomes active, then we'll add the maize flour and the baking flour, then the yeast, warm water, mix the ingredients and let it raise. So come on, let's start. We are going to put 2 teaspoons of yeast, and then we'll add lukewarm water, and then we'll cover it and let it activate. So this is baking flour. We're going to use 1 kilogram. You can even use half a kilogram if that's what you want. In 1 kilogram of baking flour, we are going to add also a kilogram of the maize flour. They are thoroughly mixed. So now that the flour is thoroughly mixed, we are going to mix these two with lukewarm water, and then we'll eat the yeast after 10 minutes of it activating, cover it up and put it in a warm place or under the sun for it to raise. and you use your hands.
I'm proud of Africa. Beauty, Africa.
Can you tell us the history, the lineage, where Nubians first settled?
Okay.
I believe my family watching the video, they also want to know. So can you tell us where they come from, but don't give us all the entire history, because along the video, we need to always talk about something new.
Okay. I was told the Nubians came into Uganda in the 1800s, so 1820s, 1885. That's when the Nubians came to Uganda. They are not originally from Uganda. They came as the military, as I think mercenaries with Frederick Lugard back then when British was kind of colonizing Uganda. So there was apparently a war between two kingdoms, that was Bunyoro and Buganda, and Buganda was being seriously defeated by Bunyoro. And so in order to colonize Uganda, the British needed a more centralized and friendly kingdom, and so they needed to give protection to Buganda as a kingdom. And so Frederick Lugard traveled up north, and apparently the Nubian soldiers were with Emin Pasha in the center of Africa, where Captain Lugard met them and made a contract, and so he was given the Nubian military, or the mercenaries, under the leadership of Salim Bey. And so they crossed the Albertine, Lake Albert, came down south and ended up in Buganda, where we came as the army. Our ancestors came as the army. So they came and protected Buganda as a kingdom and helped Buganda defeat Bunyoro.
You said they came as
Mercenaries and soldiers, yes.
To Buganda to help it defeat all the neighbors.
All the neighbors from the aggression the kingdom was facing, yes.
Are you getting the history? How they became Ugandans? But I think that is enough for now, because there is still a lot we need to know along the video. But we'll be sharing it in the bits. So don't go anywhere. Keep watching until the end. That is enough for now. So let us go back to what the
Gurusa is.
Yeah, the Gurusa is. So let's go back to Gurusa. Let's go back to food.
Okay, thank you. This moment, this is the consistency of the Gurusa. You can either leave it at this, or you can make it a little bit lighter, but I prefer it at this. And now I'm going to add our yeast that was soaked to activate for 10 minutes, which is ready. When I add it here, I'll mix it a little bit so that it's well distributed in that dough, and then leave it to rest outside under the sun for a few minutes, or for until when it raises and it's ready to be cooked. For you to know that the yeast is ready for use is the bubbles, things that forms, like in Luganda they say biovu, so the foam indicates that the yeast is activated and ready for use. So we're going to get this and pour it into this mixture so that it can accelerate the processing. So if you can also record at the bottom, there are bubbles being formed. Yeah, that shows that the yeast is ready, activated for use. So let's add it to our mixture and then keep our Gurusa ready for raising. So this is how it looks like when it's fully activated. So just to let members know, the viewers know, if you don't have the instant yeast, traditionally we would make our own yeast. So the residue of what is left of the Gurusa butter is what we put in a bottle, add water, and then let it ferment for like some days or weeks. And so that's what we use traditionally as yeast to activate the raising of the flour or the dough that we've mixed. But now I don't have that, and that's why I've used the yeast, because the traditionalists will be like, where is the khamira? So today my khamira is this, but traditionally we do make our own yeast as the Nubi people that we use in the Gurusa. Now that this is ready, we are going to cover it and store it under the sun so that it raises and activates and ready to cook. Now that we are done with this, we are going to prepare mula kofta and then get ready to cook mula kofta and as the gurusa raises. So see you in the next preparation process. So we are going to do mula kofta, pounded beef. It's going to be pounded in this mortar and pestle or wachino. And then as we pound it, we'll be adding different ingredients. The meat that is used when you're making mula kofta has to be beef, specifically beef without fat and without fiber in it. So this, we're going to use 1 kilogram of beef. However, we are going to make sure that we remove all these fibrous elements in the meat and all the fat so that the pounding is easy. We'll do it now and also we'll do it after we've pounded the meat. So let's start with making sure that this meat is as lean as possible. So at least the beef should be this lean without fat or any fibrous, elements on it. And so we'll do cut pieces this small that we'll pound and then make sure it's soft and pounded. Then we'll spice it and make meat rolls. And that is what we're going to cook as our kofta today. So let me prepare the rest of the beef and then we get started with pounding.
Have you learned something? I believe because there is a lot. You shouldn't skip the video. You shouldn't leave it because you need to learn something new from this video. So you told us earlier,
yes,
the Nubians came to protect Uganda.
Yes.
From the enemies around.
Yes.
By then they were enemies.
By then, yes.
So can you please continue with the story? It's so interesting.
Yes, like I said, our ancestors came as protectors of the Uganda kingdom and also people who protect the colonizers then who needed the protection of an army. And so when we came to Buganda, we came fought Bunyoro and ensured that Buganda won the war against Bunyoro. And for those who did history, I think you've heard about the lost counties and all that. So yeah, our ancestors were the faces behind supporting the Buganda kingdom and ensuring that it won the battle against Bunyoro. So upon conclusion of the battle, in the spirit of appreciating the Nubi people and what they had done for the kingdom, the Kabaka then gave land or donated land to the Nubian community, and that land is what is now known as Bombo. So Bombo is the ancestral land, in quotes, of the Nubian people, and that is where they were stationed. And in addition to that, it's because there was a barracks that was built, a fort that was built by the colonizers then. So that fort, and them being the army or the mercenaries who had come to, defend the colonizers then and also Buganda kingdom, it was suitable for them to live around the barracks since they were of the military bases. And so Bombo became the cradle land for the Nubian, donated by the Kabaka of Buganda. And so that is how we kind of got integrated into the Buganda kingdom. And as I speak, the Nubian people have a fully fledged office in the Buganda kingdom that caters to the Nubian issues. Yeah, and so from there, you find that Nubians are not only in Buganda, but they're also located in Bunyoro, Toro, in Ankole, in Busoga, in the north of Uganda. And that is because they were the army and they were protecting the interests of the British colonialists. So Nubians are not only found in Bombo, even if the most common known ones are those ones in Bombo. We are found in all the kingdoms. There are Nubians in Ankole, there are Nubians in Toro, there are Nubians in Bunyoro, there are Nubians in Tororo, there are Nubians in Soroti. So there are Nubians all over Uganda. And so when Nicholas said he didn't know where to find them, I looked at him like, are you sure? We are all over the country. And that is how we came to be admitted as citizens of this country. Though originally we were mercenaries who were in expeditions in Africa. They're called relief expeditions. However, history says, based on our language, which is Kinubi, the Nubian language that we speak, has assimilations and similarities with Arabic. So if we are to trace back where this could have been adopted from, we are thinking Sudan, the Kordofan area, and also southern Egypt. That could be the ancestors, where the ancestors came from, and they were picked to serve as military and mercenaries of Emin Pasha by then. And so, yes, we have roots from the Sudan and southern of Egypt, but we are now assimilated as Ugandans. And before even the constitutions of Uganda came into place, we were acknowledged as a fully fledged tribe, one of the native tribes of this country. So the Nubi people are fully Ugandans, and we don't have to explain ourselves. Yes, I think that's it about where we came from.
That means people from Bomba are Nubians. You people from Bomba are Nubians. You need to know this from today onwards. And I believe some of us, we might have that lineage. Is
Yes,
it
lineage, yes.
Lineage. We might be Nubis without knowing. Because when you go back to your history, there is somewhere you came from.
Yes.
Because I believe before Baganda occupied Buganda, there must be another tribe which was there, which was conquered.
True, true.
So sometimes we always, let me use this word, we trash other people.
Yes.
Like,
Actually,
you people
despise them. Yes.
Yes, you people are foreigners, you came from where you occupied our land. Have you tried to track where you came from? Have you tried that? You might be on the foreign land without knowing.
It's true.
Yeah, so on this channel, we not only share about food, but if we get by chance, we get history, we always also dive into that. So this is the main purpose for that video. You might see food because that is the main aim for the channel, but there's that element I don't want you to miss out, which we are looking at in this video. So in case there's something you want to learn, ask that in the comment section. We can always come back to Naima.
Yes.
Hope I'm not forgetting your name.
Yeah, the name is Naima.
Naima.
Yes.
And then we do more videos as we answer those questions.
And maybe just to let people know, the Nubi people are 99.9% Muslims because when our ancestors came, they had been Arabanized since the Arabs, and I think it was the empire by the Muslims in the north of Africa that had, or had been done. So by the time they moved to Uganda and the rest of East Africa, they were already Muslims, and that is one thing we've tried to maintain as one of the preservations of the culture. So 99.9% of Muslims in Uganda and the whole of East Africa are Muslims, the Nubi people. Why am I saying 99.9%? There are those few who could be Christians, converted to Christianity or not believing in the Muslim principles. But you find that the majority of our culture and practices are based on the Arab culture and practices, the Muslim way of doing things.
You also talked about some of Nubians are in Kenya.
Yes. Okay, so with history is a few of the brothers, the military people and their wives were left in Uganda, and then the other brothers were taken by the British. Since the British were colonizing the whole of East Africa, were taken by the British to also help with the colonization of Kenya. And so what I know is after they did what they did, served in the World War I, because they say most of the Nubians served in the World War I as a colony of the British. So after fighting World War I and Britain emerging one of the winners of the World War I, they were given land in Kenya in an area called Kibra.
Kibra.
Yeah, it's Kibera. People say Kibera, but it's Kibra.
That is where there is the largest slum in East Africa.
Yeah, some, but they don't live in the slum. They live in the whole area. So there's a slum that is there in Kibra, but it's bigger than the slum. So most of them settled in Kibra, and if you want to find many Nubians in Kenya, in Kibra, but there are some in Ravini, in Kisumu, just like in Uganda, that there are Nubians all over the country. There are also Nubians all over Kenya that you might not know are Nubians. And they are also in Kenya. And what unifies us as a community of the Nubi is the fact that we have maintained our language. You speak Kinubi, and it's very unique. I was speaking it, and you're saying that's the most difficult language I've had. But no, It is very easy. I find it easier than even Luganda, I think. You find that most Nubians cannot speak Luganda for the many years they've stayed here, but they can speak their
So
language
people
fluently.
who have encountered our language, Luganda,
Yeah.
they have said it is one of the easiest you can learn.
Oh, yeah, for the Bantu people. We are not Bantu. We could be, we don't, maybe Nilotics or Nilohimats from the northern part of Africa. So the way we pronounce our words could be different with the Bantu tonation of words. So it's kind of difficult for us as an ethnic group to pronounce. But luckily, some of us can speak.
Okay, that
Yes.
is enough for now. Here we will bring you food, culture, history, a lot and a lot more. So along the video, more is coming. Don't go anywhere. Just watch, get your notebook, note down everything you have learned from this video, because I'll be asking them in the comment section.
The meat is ready, readily cut into small pieces, just small bite-sized pieces. And now we are going to put this in the mortar, or in Luganda they say chino. So the mortar is called fundu in Kinobi. Fundu, yeah. So negira dugulam tena fundu de dukur nabi zidu spices tefauti dukur kina so mula tena ta kofta de mula dikula. So yeah, that is Kinobi. So it's kind of hard for people to make the donations. So that's what we're going to do now. We'll put the meat in the chino, and then we are going to use the pestle to pound it so that it gets ready. So as you do this, you for the modern people, you can either mince it, but I prefer a pounded one to the minced one because those fibers that you want that retain the flavor of the meat, which is different from when you mince it in a machine. But for those who like the minced version, can mince it. So you pound the amount you're able to, because it takes a lot of energy to pound the meat. So you can do it in small portions, or if you feel you have that enough energy, you can put a bigger portion, and you pound all the meat at once. So this specific meal is prepared for celebrations. For example, wedding celebrations. This is the meal that's prepared for your husband if you're married, by your family members. So the first meal your husband eats when you go back to his home. In Nubian, it's called dikula. So that dikula food you take is not dikula, but dikla. Dikla. So yeah, the pronunciation matters. So dikla is what the food that is made for the muko. You come to marry in the family. So when you take the bride, the food the mothers prepare for you the first night in your home, taking their daughter, is this specific mula kofta. This is the pounded meat, and this is the whole meat that's not yet pounded. And now we're going to pound this so that we add it to that. And then we can start adding our spices and make the kofta. So we are going to prepare garlic that we'll be pounding to add into our meat. And then we add the coriander, then the spices. I will tell you which spices we add as I put them, the names of the spices, so that when you go into the market, you know which exact spice you want.
So full of love, my mama teeth, my mama land, Africa.
Now our pounded meat is ready. It's soft, and see it's shredded from the pounding. So what we're going to do is add the ingredients that we have been talking about. We're going to put garlic. We're going to use 4 cloves for this particular one, and then add a little bit of salt to add to soften the garlic. And then after pounding it, we'll add it here. Then we'll add this is garam masala. This is jeera, but pounded, grounded jeera. So they did grind it, and now it's in powder form. Jira, I don't have the whole one, but they look like rice, the tiny, tiny spices that look like rice. So yeah, when you go to the market and ask for jira or cumin seeds in English, yeah, they'll give you that. So if you want the powdered one, you get the jira that is powdered. I don't like the whole one, so I prefer the powdered one. And this is garam masala that I usually I use for every curry that I make. So let's start with the garlic. So we'll add a spoon of salt to the garlic. So a spoon of salt and the 4 cloves, and then we'll pound it. So I know many people would be like, why not use garlic press or the squeezers? Yeah, I have it, but I prefer doing things the traditional way. That's how the traditional flavors come out. So yeah, I prefer pounding to squeezing. So the garlic is soft. Now what I'm going to do is add dhania or coriander. I'm going to pick the fresh ones, and that's what I'm going to add in here and pound it so that it is soft. I'll start with the middle one. I like the middle one because it still has full flavor. It's softer and the flavor is in full compared to the other. I love using the stem of the garlic because it adds more flavor of the stem of the coriander, because it adds more flavor of the coriander into the curry or the stew that I'm making. Don't ask me how much do I need to do. The more for me, the better the flavor. So I don't usually measure, but I'm going to use this whole plant. And so this is the coriander I've got. I'm going to wash it, then add it here and pound. But for those who want, you could cut it in smaller pieces. Though the ones I'm going to cut in smaller pieces, I'll use it in the gravy that I'm going to do to prepare the meat. But for the meat specifically, I prefer the grounded coriander.
There's this question I want you to answer. What does it mean to preserve our cultures,
Yes.
to preserve our food, or in any ways? What does it mean to you?
So I think what is very important for culture is not only to know where you're from, because knowing where you're from gives you the direction of where you're supposed to go, but also knowing how to preserve your culture through the language, which I'm very proud that I can speak the Kinubi language, through the food. So it is important for you to know that this food is peculiar to my culture, and this is what speaks to me as a person, and it's my cultural food. So for girls, women, and also the men to really appreciate that different cultures have different food, and that food is what identifies you as a person because of the palate and because there are stories that are linked to the food that you as a culture make. Like for the Baganda, the Luombo is, but for the Nubi people, Gurusa is like fermented bread. And it has a history behind it, which I may not be able to say it now, but many people know Anjera of the Ethiopia. There's Anjera Somal, that's for Somalis. There is Gurusa, which is this for the Nubian people, the Fulani people of Nigeria, and the Sudanese. And then we have a different one that is called Kisra. So Kisra has a longer process than Gurusa, but Gurusa is the easiest one that anyone can make, because you saw how I prepared it. It's easy. Then Kofta. This kofta is peculiar to the Nubian people because this is like a celebratory meal. It's the meal that is given to the high VIPs, like the Moko, if they come, like they do Luombo for the Bako. So Mula kofta is for the Bako in the Nubian culture. So it's Dikula. It is important to preserve our culture like this and passing this on. My mom passed this on from me, and she got it from her grandparents. And hopefully I will pass it on to my children and daughters when they get time for this. And this is the only way we can preserve our culture and our identity as the Nubi people. So to me, food is quite equally as important as the dress code, the behavior, the practices, the music, the cultural music that you have, and also because you need an identity as a person, and tagging on other people's identity, it does not make you one of them. So if you're Nubi, you should know your food, you should know your dress code, your cultural galeria, and also you should know who you are as a person. If you cannot speak the language, at least know about the food, know about your history, and also know the music and the dress code that you wear as a Nubian person. Yeah, I think that's all I can say.
Then I have two more questions.
Okay.
The one is for Batoro. You talked about their food. Then the next is going to be our brothers and sisters who were not born in Africa. Let me most talk about Black Americans.
Okay.
But I'm going to ask you. So the first one, I need to talk about the food, the Batoro food.
Yes.
How did it come to existence? How did it became part of them? But they need to know about it.
Okay.
Then for the Black Americans, who are brothers and sisters who were born in Europe, and they don't know their
culture,
their history.
Yes.
And that they are trying to come back home. They
Yes.
are trying their best. So which message could you send to them?
Okay, so you asked me about the Batoro food. I think it's because I told him my mom partly comes from Toro. So, when the Nubians settled in Uganda, they equally settled in Toro, the Batoro. They also settled in Ankole with the Banyankole, the Banyoro. And this was because you find that the Nubians are settling in the borders of the kingdoms. That's where we are settled, because we're supposed to check the kingdoms not to exceed the boundaries. And so that's how we settle there. So how, you saw when cultures coexist or live together, there's some things they learn from each other. So for the Nubian attire, the way we wear the kurbaba, the gemis, and the tob, it kind of influenced the dress code, the Toro, the Batoro and the Banyoro suka, and also the Ankole suka that they do wear. So our culture influences. I know many people are going to be like, no, it can't be. So I'm going to give you an example. By the time the Nubian people came here, people were still wearing skins, hides, and back clothes. And the Nubian people came wearing tob Sudan, gemis, and the kurbaba, or chamunda. So the inner thing, which kind of resembles the. So we came.
Did you say chamunda?
Yes.
Is that
chamunda? I'm just saying the Batoro thing.
Oh, okay.
So for us, that chomunda thing, that skirt that they wear in the Batoro culture, or the Banyoro culture, that is, for us, we call it kurbaba. And by the time we came in the 1800s, I don't think Ugandans were dressed by then. They were wearing either skins, hides, or back clothes. And we came dressed in the Nubian tob. And so I believe, with my analogy, that we could have influenced the dress code of the Batoro because it's kind of similar. And so influencing it doesn't mean that we are owning the Batoro outfit or the Banyoro, but I'm saying people learn from each other and kind of influence each other as a culture. The same goes with Firinda. The Firinda sauce, some people say it's a Toro thing. Some Nubians are saying Nubians came with it and so kind of influenced the Firinda outfit. We're not going to argue about that. Like I said, I'm not an expert in it. But like I say, we learn from each other and influence each other as a culture once you exist. Because we've been here since the 1800s. We're now in the 2000s. The things that we definitely have learned from the different culture. If you come in Uganda, I kind of adopted Usafa in our celebrations. We do eat matoke and jinas because, yeah, we also know how to prepare it. We also know how to do the luombo. It's something we learned from the Ganda culture, and the Ganda people learned how to make the pilau and all that because they say pilau is Islamic, mere yamutumi, something like that. And yeah, we came eating ruz, that is rice, or mchele in Kiswahili. So yeah, we I believe, influenced each other there. So you knowing your identity so that you're not lost in the influence is very key. Knowing where the boundary is and knowing that, in as much as I've been influenced by this culture, step back and say, this is who I am and I shouldn't get lost in the influence. And so there's so many things I think the Nubian people have influenced, like the matari. We came drubbing the matari. So you find that for many Muslims in their celebrations, there's matari and all that. What else? I think that's it. I can't think of anything off my mind, but I just encourage people, when you're learning about people's culture and appreciating people's culture, we shouldn't just be ignorant about what we hear, but dig deep, go to the people and learn a few things about them. Very open for people to come and learn about the Nubian culture, because I love my culture, I'm proud of it. And I've learned how to preserve it through food, my dress code, trying as much as possible to speak the language and speak about me being a Nubian so that people appreciate where I come from. And so you asked a question about the African Americans who do not know where they come from. I was equally born in the diaspora, not in Uganda per se, but when I came back to Uganda, I tried as much as possible to learn where I come from. So I think being in a diaspora, it's not an excuse for you not to know where you're coming from. You might not know, but taking the extra effort not to hate the people and feel like you're so different from them, but trying to appreciate and learning the culture. If you identify that probably you belong from the Fulani tribe, or you're Nubian, or you're Uganda, you learning the few aspects about your culture and belonging to it by knowing and identifying yourself and learning the different aspects of that culture is important, because that is your identity. I cannot say that, you're an American or you're white or your culture is that because you live in America, or you say, we cannot call ourselves Baganda because we say in Buganda, we are Nubians who assimilated and settled in Buganda. So knowing where you come from is quite important. And yeah, do your best, try to find out where the roots are, because once you find your identity, your soul and your ancestor's soul will settle and you'll know where you belong. That is, for me, it's important.
One of my background songs,
Yeah.
there is a phrase that says, "My brothers, my sisters, remember your heritage."
Yes.
So to others, it is just a song.
Yeah.
To me, there is a lot. There is a lot
Behind it.
Yeah, I'm sending messages to
Yes.
our people, our brothers and sisters born in diaspora, to know their heritage, know where their roots are.
Yes.
I believe from this video, there's something you have learned. There's something you're still learning. Naima,
Yeah, so
I'm so grateful for this. First, wait, I need to capture that. People want to see what is happening. So let's go back to the cooking.
Okay. So this is the mixture of the garlic and the coriander that was pounded, and so we are going to add it to our mixture, the pounded meat, and then we'll do a teaspoon of the garam masala, and then the cumin or jeera ground.
My brothers, my sisters, remember your heritage.
We're going to massage this, but before we massage, we're going to add a few grains of rice, and the rice will help in acting as a starch, a binding component in the meat, so it will keep the meat together as we're cooking it. So I'm going to just get a small cup of rice. Any kind of rice you want that is not basmati is key. The more starchy it is, the better. So we wash it and then add it to the mixture. So this is the rice that we've added. That will be our binding element. And now we massage. Massage or knead, depends on the language you want to use. So you can knead, massage. And for those who want it spicy, you can also add a little bit of chili. So do you eat chili? Should I add a little bit of chili? Okay, yeah, so I like my food better with chili. So we are going to massage, and then we will add a little bit of salt. We'll add a little bit of salt to the meat to enhance the flavor, and then we will in kino bigi kelemu adakulamde viungo kulu dakalfikila lam tagada. So yeah, I was just saying in my Nubian language that you need the meat until all the spices get in the meat. So
Naima asked if I eat chili because there is cultural differences when it comes to food.
yeah,
But where did chili come from?
I think Okay, I'm not sure, but I'm just going to give my thought on this. India was known for being the creators of spice. So chili being a spice, I think there's chili that comes from India, there is chili that comes from Mexico, and Spanish, and I believe probably Indians took it there. And so Arabs could have gotten it from the Indian people, and Arabs having colonized the north of Africa, which we would say the cradle land of Nubians, we kind of assimilated that culture of chili. So you'll find that in every Nubian home, there's chili, and every Nubian family, people eat chili. So chili adds a certain niceness or kick to the food that makes it really nice. And so even in West Africa, I think most of them eat chili.
So you've grown up in Uganda.
I think the biggest part of my life in Uganda.
So on the percentage, out of 100, how many Ugandans do you think enjoy chili?
I think it's the smallest percentage. Honestly speaking, I think it's only the Kiswahili speaking people and Nubian people that you're guaranteed eat real chili.
This is what I always tell people, that Ugandans chili wasn't part of us.
True.
But people are like, Kolimba, you're lying.
But I think it's true, because if you look at the traditional foods that are made in Uganda, especially the Bantu people, chili was not incorporated in their food.
Our food, if it is not salty, then it is sweet.
Yes. So I agree on that. But like we said, we appropriate different cultures. And so you'll find that right now, other cultures adopted that chili. But I don't think it's originally a Ugandan spice. So at this moment, we have massaged our meat. So it's key to remove the fibers, these things that look like threads. These. So you remove them. So I explained why every spice is here. And like we said, we are going to add a little bit of chili for Nicholas to enjoy. We are going to add fresh green chilies. I just love my food spicy, and so I'm doing it like this. I know people be like, does she have a chopping board? Yeah, it's not Nubian to use chopping board. We do it like this traditionally. Yeah, I have a chopping board, but I'm trying to be as authentic in the Nubian way of doing things as possible. Yeah, I don't think my great-grandparents had a chopping board. So that is it. And then now we massage it again. So kindly, if you're going to do the massage, make sure your hands are clean. You don't want to poison people. If not, you can use gloves if you're not sure. If you're doing it for commercial, because many people might not be comfortable with your hands in their food. We'll add a spoon of cooking oil. I'm using sunflower oil because I just want it to be as healthy as possible. But you can use any other oil, but a vegetable oil. So massage it again. Let's make sure the oil goes to every part of the meat. So that's how the meat looks like. Now we're going to make the balls. They're like meat rolls or meatballs. They can be bigger, but I want it, small sizes. Small size. Just roll it in your hand. Don't care about the shape, whichever shape goes. So this is the Nubian minced meat. But it's pounded. I think Nicholas can testify the aroma that is coming out of it. So you make whichever size or shape you're comfortable with. And just make sure the shapes are the same so that they can all get ready at the same time.
In case someone wants to be part of this,
Yes.
where do they find you?
Well, unfortunately, I don't own a restaurant that cooks Nubian food. However, I do have a catering company. It's a house of foods. That's a company where we make all these delicious, it's part of our menu. We have a very inclusive menu that covers food from Uganda, food from the West Nile, food from Western Uganda, and Ankole, the Aishawes and all that. And also, what is peculiar about our catering company is that we are particular about the Nubian food. Like we make the Nubian pilau in whichever forms, whether it's goat, beef, vegetable, plain pilau, and we also incorporate a little bit of the coastal food, which is biryani. And then in the curries that we make, we do have kofta as part of it, so we make it special for the people. So the menu is so wide, you get to select, and then we discuss on what the budget will look like. Yeah, so that is it. And now we are going to make the curry, where we'll be dipping the balls, the meatballs. I can say meatballs, but it's called kofta. So what we need is just simple ingredients. Apart from what we've used to mix in the kofta, we just need onions, 2 big red onions, and then we have 2 tomatoes, 5 cloves of garlic, then we have tomato paste, just to increase the viscosity, to make it thick a little bit. And then we'll use the remaining of the coriander. Just to bring to your attention, as Nubian people, we love onions. We use a lot of onions. This might not be enough, so I might add 1 more, just to make, for us, what thickens the soup and makes it really delicious and enhances the flavor of the food is the onions. So in the curries that we make, we use more onions than is the tomatoes. So let's start with the process, and then we prepare our kofta, mula kofta. So we will start making our curry, and then we'll start by placing our pan onto the fire. A drizzle of cooking oil. I'm using sunflower for this specific one, but any kind of vegetable oil is okay. And then immediately put my 3 large onions. Actually, they're medium onions. Like I said, as Nubian people, we use a lot of onions. And the reason is to ensure that the food is flavorful, and also the curry is thick. We don't use artificial thickeners like flour or anything. So we just use the onions, and they're red onions to be specific. And then we will let it fry. When it is soft and a little golden brown, we'll add the tomatoes, then the garlic, and then try to blend it a little bit, because I want it to be like that smooth consistency, no particles. And then when it's ready, let it simmer, and then we'll add the koftas, the balls of the meat.
So you didn't give time to cooking oil to...
No, we don't burn the cooking oil. We do everything at once, just to preserve the ingredients. When you let it overheat, the temperature kind of reduces and burns some of the essential ingredients in the cooking oil. Yes.
Okay, I'm learning.
Yeah, so we put it all together and we let it get ready together. So the onion gets to suck in some of those ingredients and in the cooking oil that are supposed to be retained. So if you overheat it at a higher temperature, then you lose some of those fortified ingredients in the cooking oil. Yes. So every Nubian home, you will not see anyone heating their cooking oil at higher temperatures before adding the oil, the onions. We do it together. So it starts like that. Just let it until when it starts softening and browning, then we'll add the tomatoes.
What are the requirements to marry from your tribe, your society, your nation? What are the requirements?
Well, I think we are the easiest tribe to marry from because we don't have a lot of complicated requirements. All I know, we don't have like kuchala, kwanjula, all that madness.
Yep.
Like it's a lot. So what happens if a boy and a girl like each other? We follow the Islamic principles strictly. If a boy and a girl like each other and they want to enter into the institution of marriage, so the boy tell your elders, who then write a letter to the elders in my family, like my father, and say, we want to come and marry one of the daughters in your family, state the name if you want. And then once that letter is gotten to, your father comes and asks you, tells you about the new development, like there's a boy, ABC, who says they're interested in marrying you. So if you want, you agree, then you agree, and then your parents write back and give them a date on when they can come and visit. So it's the elders, the male elders who come. Then when that time comes, they come visit and discuss what is required for the marriage. So there's what they call mali. Mali is like what the parents ask for in regards to...
The dowry?
It's not dowry per se, because like I said, we are a Muslim community, so we basically, what is important is your mahar, the dawah, mahar, the Islamic mahar. So they talk about mali. Mali is like what your father might ask for. Okay, I want this. So there's mal baba, that is what is given to your father. Then mal mama, that is given to your mom for her being, the breastfeeder and the caretaker of you and the nourisher. And then they talk about the food that is required, the ingredients. So if you want a grand wedding, you the groom, it's you who will foot it. If you want something grand, like you see in the quantula level, so the expense will be on you, the groom. Because usually for us, we can even do a nikah of 6 people and you take the child. But but it depends on the family. You discuss with the family what you two want. Then upon that, when that is concluded, a date is given on when the marriage will be. And then you get ready. So there is, towards the wedding, our weddings usually take like a week or 2. So there is sela. Sela is when they're bringing the mali that they asked for and the food that will be catered to for you. So there's a day for sela. Usually that is Yom El Khamis, Thursdays. So they do the sela on Thursdays. And then there is henna ceremony. We do the henna ceremony for the groom.
Henna, you mean henna where they paint?
Yes, but so now this one is for the groom specifically. So the singers of the bride go to the groom's home and do a henna ceremony for the groom. As the bride is being hennaed, the groom is also hennaed by the family of the bride.
Does that, if I'm not a Muslim,
whether you're Muslim or not.
Is it a straight no?
No, it's not, because it's culture. And remember, in Uganda, traditional marriages are done according to the traditions of the woman. So yeah, if you're marrying a girl from the Nubi, expect to have the henna ceremony. There's a sela henna ceremony, and then after the henna ceremony, that's what differentiates you from the other boys, showing that you're sealed. It's like engagement or something like that. So you're sealed to marry this girl. And so it's supposed to be, the henna is supposed to be mixed by the bride. So the thicker or the redder it gets, the more there's love and your marriage will last with you. So if you say a straight no, it's like, this marriage is not going to last. Anyway, I'm kidding. I don't know why, but yeah. And then after the henna ceremony, then there's the nikah ceremony. The nikah ceremony is the next day. Usually we do our nikahs on Saturday. And so we do nikah. There's cultural things that are done, but it's an interesting, unique ceremony. If I get an opportunity of attending one, I will invite you so that the audience can see how it's done.
Yes, I would love to cover the story.
Yeah, and so the nikah, after the nikah, there's a lot of jubilations, food, and then there's when the groom goes to confirm the bride in the bedroom. So it's called diaibes. Something.
Wait, the groom goes to the bedroom to confirm?
Or the room the bride is kept in to confirm that is your bride. So there's a ceremony that is done there, which is very traditional. I can't explain that. It will need you to come and record it.
Yes.
And then...
Do they allow you to go?
Yes, they do. It's open. So the sisters of the bride welcome you and all that. And then after the nikah, you can have your reception. Reception with, if you want the reception, you have to do it, but it's not a must for us. The nikah is more than enough. So, yeah. And then we have the most interesting dance, which is called the Luka dance. We dance so gracefully, like the queens that we are, and enjoy. It's sung in the Nubian language, in Kinobi, and the drums are really beautiful, and the way the girls dance is really graceful. And yeah, very enjoyable.
Wow.
So it's as simple as that. That's why I say there's no madness of Kanjula. What? No, it's just simple, elegant, beautiful marriage, and you're done. So now back to the food. These are onions that are kind of softening a bit. And I think because of time, we might not do the okra. Let's just do the meatballs and the gurusa.
Naima.
Not Neymar. Naima. Naima.
Naima.
Yeah.
So, why was it so hard for you to find Nubians, yet there are so many in Uganda?
I hear you. Well, I think part of it is because of the history in this country. One thing history says, like Nubians used to be hated by the Bantu people because of the occupation that they come and the way that we came in this country. So what made that worse was the fact that during the Idi Amin time, many Nubians who were serving in the army were associated with the Idi Amin regime, where most Nubians served in the military and as officials of the government. However, so when everything changed and there was an overthrow of the power, Nubians were being lynched, and people were giving them out so that they are lynched and killed or arrested. And so many of them went into hiding and kind of disowning their identity as the Nubian people. Now, with the coming of the government and the fact that we are acknowledged in our constitution as an official group of people, tribe, and fully acknowledged as a tribe in this country, I think it's high time that we, ina Nubi kena talabara, kena jitambulisha jana Nubi, let's come out and appreciate our identity. Scream proudly and loudly that you're a Nubian. I am a Nubian. Most of my friends call me a Nubian queen. It's because I'm not shy about being Nubi. I'm proud of it, and I think many girls out there, boys, men and women, should identify themselves with who they are. Like I said, you cannot assimilate other people's culture. We are who we are, and we know how you look like. Even if you hide, it will come out that you're a Nubian in one way or another. And so I think it's quite important, and just for people not to judge us harshly and saying Tulibagwira, because that's what they used to call us, Tulibagwira. Like the Bantu people migrated into Uganda and other parts of this country, we equally migrated in this country in the 1800s. And by the time Uganda got its independence, or by the time Uganda was colonized, we were officially a tribe settling in this country. And so I think we should be accorded the same amount of respect like any other culture, appreciated, and not be discriminated against because of history that judge us wrongly. We are very social people. We are lovable people, very helpful in a way or another. And we are so proud of who we are. We are not going to change that even if people say that they hate us. So for every Nubian girl, boy, man or woman out there, stand proud and loud and scream that you're a Nubi. I'm a Nubi and I'm proud of it. So I think everyone should be proud of who they are. And yes, I am proud of who I am. Our onions did become golden brown, and we added salt and water so that it softens. And that is how it looks like with salt and water added. And now we're going to add tomatoes. So we'll add tomatoes and a little bit of water for the tomatoes to cook. Yeah, so the golden brown gives it that beautiful color that you will see at the ends. It will not be too red or too white. It will just be a nice, beautiful reddish, brownish that will make the sauce really be beautiful and tasty. So that is the tomato. We are going to add a little bit of water to allow the tomato cook. Remember that the tomatoes need to cook, and also the onions will dissolve completely with the tomatoes when it has cooked well. So we are going to cover this, let it cook, and then go back to our gurusa. I'm very sure by now it has raised and it's ready to cook. So we are going to cover this and wait. Our gurusa is ready. We can see the bubbles that are forming on the cooking spoon. So this shows it's ready. Mix it.
So what is the difference between this and kisra?
So kisra is made, it is way lighter than this. It's like a newspaper, like its thickness. And then this is going to be a little bit thicker. And then I like it when I add a little bit of sugar to give it a little bit of sweetness. Others like it without anything, no sugar added. So for this one particularly, we will add some sugar. So the bubbles confirm that it's ready for cooking. It has already raised and fermented a little bit, so we'll add a little bit of sugar, and then we cook our gurusa. So we can go to the kitchen and start preparing the gurusa. This is how our tomato looks like with onions combined. Just need to make sure that it dissolves totally. And then we will add a little bit of garlic, a little bit of garam masala, coriander, and then we place the meatballs in here, let it simmer until when it's ready. So let's do the garlic. Like I said, we'll do 5 cloves of garlic, and we're going to use the press. I'm using this Safa tomato paste. This is made in Uganda, actually. Yeah, it's made in Uganda. So we have nice things made here.
So it's bobo.
Yeah, it's bobo. So we'll add the paste. I prefer the Safa one because it's more natural. Like you can see that the tomatoes are real tomatoes. It's 99% tomatoes. Yeah. It has no artificial colors, no preservatives, no anything added. So it's just natural tomatoes. And then we can see now the consistency of our gravy. And then we do a little bit of garam, like 1 teaspoon, that's enough. Not more than that. A little bit of salt. Remember we had added salt in the onions, so you don't want it to be too much. And that is the consistency we are getting. And then we'll add a little bit of water. Then we place our meatballs and let it simmer. Even with the water added. So just put enough water that you're sure will come down after the meat is ready. I know people are going to ask, how do you make the measurements? I don't do measurements. I rely on my ancestors. So when something tells me stop in my head, then I think that is when I should stop. I don't really make measurements. We're Africans, we don't do measurements. So I'm going to place the meatballs in this, and then we let it simmer. So just make sure you arrange it well in the pan. We're not going to like mix it or anything, just going to let it get ready on its own. So just arrange our meat in an orderly way. Just arrange it in the pan so that they don't fight for space. So we'll cook it on high for like 20 minutes and then turn down the heat and let it simmer until it's ready. I don't know how long that will take, depends on the meat type. But if it's soft meat, it will take shorter time. If it's tougher meat, it will take a longer time. Yeah, so just let it cook. When it's ready, we'll show you what will make you tell that it's ready for eating. So that's it about the beef korma. And now we're going to let it cook on its own. I hope the preparation was easy. They're just easy ingredients. It's nothing too hard. But once you make it, it's going to be an authentic Nubian cuisine. So we are going to go make our gurusa. You saw the batter was ready. It was raised the way we wanted to, made the bubbles. That is a sign that it's ready for cooking. And now what is in front of me is one of the artifacts of the Nubian culture. And we have the kuta. This is a kuta that was covering my wipes. So the purpose of this kuta is to cover whatever is inside. And why we use this is when we are serving food, we use the kuta to cover so that the aroma of the food does not escape when you're taking the food for eating. It retains the aroma and everything. So when you open it, the person first eats with the smell before they eat the food. So this is called a kuta. You can only find this done by Nubian people. Just look at the colors, very beautiful, very pretty. And just to tell you, kutas come in different shapes and sizes. So this is mine, it's medium size. The smaller ones for saucers and small plates, but this is now for the bigger pans like the sinia or the lusania, the big pan, metallic pan that I was using when I was making the meatballs. And then this is called the tabaga in Kinobi. So tabaga is more like the platter where we can serve anything that is dry. For example, the gurusa, chapati, fruits. Yeah, we use snacks, the Nubian mandazis or bondazis, what people call daddies, bajias. So we use this platter to just lay it on there, and then after you've laid it on, you cover it with a kuta and you serve your guests. So in the Nubian culture, we don't serve guests with the food openly brought. We use this to cover it. So we're going to use the tabaga for laying our gurusa as we make it. The reason we use this is because it sucks out the moisture, aerates, so that it does not become soggy after it has been cooked. Yeah, so you'll see how we're going to do it. And then I'm going to layer it with paper. It can be tissue paper, but this particular moment I'm going to use newspapers because my people don't know tissue paper. The traditional ones use newspapers to lay the gurusa on top. So I'm going to try to be as traditional as possible, but you can use towel papers, kitchen towel papers to do that. But for now, since we are doing the most traditional things, I'm going to use this newspaper. I bought it, so some of you be like hygiene, all that. No. The newspapers in Uganda do not produce ink, so it will be intact and safe to use. And the first layer probably might not be one that we're going to eat. We're going to use the top layers. And so we're going to start with our kuta, with our gurusa. And now, in a typical Nubian home, we do have pans. These are called sasi in Kinobi, but it's a pan. I don't know how they call it in Uganda. Yeah, you will type it in the comments to tell us how it's called in your culture. But we call this sasi. So we have sasi for kisra, we have sasi for gurusa, and then we have sasi for chapati. We don't use the same sasi for all the things. You suppose any typical Nubian woman has to have 3 sasis in her house. So our lagin is ready, and we are not going to do it all at once. We do it in portions. I'm going to get some of it, put it in this saucepan, this different pan, and then add my sugar, and this is what I'm going to use when I'm making in small portions, but I'll keep adding as it gets done. So we are going to take that amount. So if your consistency is too thick and you feel you want it lighter, yeah, you can add a little bit of warm water and it will make it lighter. So let's start with a small portion of the lagin. That is enough. So we are heating up our sasi so that it gets the heat that we want to use. And then now back to our lagin. So we'll just put a little bit of sugar, not so much. That is enough. And then mix it. So for those, sugar addition is optional. If you don't want it with sugar, you don't have to add the sugar. But I prefer my gurusa with a little bit of sweetness because the kofta has a little bit of spiciness. So I like it sweet and spicy in my mouth as I'm eating. Yeah, so this is the consistency I would want to use for my gurusa. Traditionally, people cook using the coconut shell. So the coconut shell is trimmed well and all the whiskers on top of it is removed, and so that's what they use for collecting the lagin and putting it on the sasi. But in the modern time, now we're modern, so I'm going to use this spoon and not the other So the motion is you get the lagin, pour it on the pan, and then you go in a circular movement, and then you make it to the size that you want. So I can test. This is too sweet, so I'm going to add more lagin. As much as I want it sweet, I don't want it too sweet. Just want it a little bit sweet, just a kick of the sweetness. So this is the pan that we're going to use for our gurusa. We don't use cooking oil, we don't use anything. So you collect your gurusa dough like that, pour it on the pan, and then move in circles, circles, circles. You make the size that you want. And then you cover it so that it gets ready. So after covering it, you give it roughly 2 to 3 minutes. It will be ready and browned at the bottom. Then it's ready to eat. We remove it from the pan, put it on our tabaga, and then we are good to go. So you keep doing that until you use all your lagin or your butter, and then you'll be done with gurusa. So let's get cooking. After that, our curry will be ready, our kofta. Then we'll have our lunch. I know Nicholas has been saying he's hungry, he's hungry, he's hungry. So yeah, we will soon be eating our lunch. Yeah, that is how it gets going. It's not yet ready. When it's ready, you just see the browns at the base, at the outskirts of the gurusa. If you see it turning a little bit brown, then it is ready to be removed from the pan. So we're still covering. This is our curry. It's not yet ready. We have to give it time to get ready. So when it's almost ready, then we'll add coriander or dania or kotimiri, depending on how you call it, and just to add the flavor, and then we'll make it sit. Then the coriander will infuse into the soup. That's what we will eat with our gurusa today. So you can see the browning shows that it's ready. Yeah, it's a little sticky on the pan, but it will come out very well. You guys should not worry. As long as you lift the base, the rest is easy. That's how it looks like, gurusa. And then we put it here. Now we cover it.
The spirit of Africa is within us. Bold, strong, rich, united, blessed and loved by God. This is us.
Now that the gurusa is ready, we are supposed to fold it and prepare it for serving. This is how inside looks like, this is how the outside looks like. Beautiful. So you fold it like that and put it on our sinia.
This is us. This is who and what we are. Oh, set me down in Africa. The DNA of Africa flows in every fiber of our being.
This is how our kofta looks like, and it's ready to eat. So we are going to serve our food. Kofta, mola kofta with gurusa. And Nicholas will let you know whether this is something you can try or not, but I can say it's delicious. And I hope Nicholas enjoys it.
Let us dive into this and see.
Okay, you go first. I don't want to bias your judgment.
Look, how do you say webale kufumba in new language?
First of all, you say Bismillah. You have
Bismillah.
to, yeah, before you eat. Then after eating is when you thank the person who has cooked.
Okay.
Yes. So with Nubians, we use our hands. We don't use forks or knives.
I also use my hands.
Yeah, so
you grab it the way.
So you grab the gurusa, get the pinch that you want. It depends on what size. Fold it. You fold it. Then you dip it in your sauce. And then...
No, I would want to taste the plain one before any sauce. So let me first taste it.
So how does it taste?
It has that bread taste. I think the bread goes through the same process.
Yes, it does.
And
but
what
the bread doesn't have white maize flour. Yes.
And what I expected is, what I had in my head is going to turn out like injera, the Ethiopian food. It would have that sour taste, but this one is sweet.
Yeah.
Actually, it is. I did not expect anything like this.
Okay.
I was getting myself ready to get drunk.
In as much as it's fermented, it's not like really fermented like injera. So if you want to make injera, it has to take longer, like more days for it to really ferment. But this one is just a few hours.
Actually, I
and then it's
believe
ready.
Everyone from my society, even other societies, they can taste this without complaining.
Yeah, this one is softer on the mouth than injera.
Let me test this with, what did you call it?
Kofta.
Kofta.
How is it?
Did the chili disappear?
It's in the meat. Yeah, so you try the meatball. Please tell the viewers, you're scaring us.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to get the taste. You know, this is something I've never tasted.
Yeah.
So new to my taste. Are you guys from Africa? Are you somewhere else?
We are from Africa.
But I love everything. I think I need to taste the meatball.
Yeah, taste the meatball with the spiciness, and then you let us know if you like it.
Oh, God.
So do you taste the chili? The spices?
I'm getting all the spices. I'm trying to look for chili.
There is no?
I'm not
Okay.
getting it.
So then you're a chili eater. You really eat a lot of chili.
Ever since I went to Kenya, I was introduced to chili. So now, okay, I can feel it.
Yeah, it comes in after, so you just feel it at the ear.
But I think it is okay for everyone to try it. But if you're a chili lover, you can even add more. But I love it. Everything is, the spices, oh God. But what, you Baganda people, why don't we add these spices to our foods? Why? I know there are cultural differences when it comes to spices, but it's something we can always get from other societies.
Yeah.
We can steal something from there. Because it is
Not
the way-
steal,
Yeah,
borrow
borrow.
the idea. Stealing is bad, but borrow the idea, yes.
So you tasted the Ugandan food. How is it?
The
Be
Uganda
open,
food?
be frank. Don't hide. I want to see how it tastes to you, how you get it.
Okay, if you're used to spices, when you eat food with the spices, it's so bland. Bland in a way that you can't tell what exactly you're eating. So in as much as I love Chiganda foods, sometimes they are too, because I'm used to spices, so I find it bland without any spice. But I love the nuts, and if I make the chinyebwa, I kind of
Do you
add
taste
a
it?
little ingredients in it to make it tasty.
Do you taste it? You
I just did the fresh nuts. Then I made the stew. And I add a little bit of garlic and onions only to make it a little
Wow.
tasty. Yeah.
I think I need to try that. When are you cooking it? I can just pass by.
I will let you know.
I just pass by without a camera, just to come and enjoy the
I will
dish.
let you know.
But thank you so much for allowing us to come into your home
You're
and
welcome.
also take your time. It is so hard to find someone who is open. People are hiding. People from different societies, but they are hiding. I don't know why they keep on hiding. But we need to come out and we share what we have. The world needs to see what we have. They need to learn about us. This is what I'm fighting for, to spread this knowledge outside so that people can know.
I hope they've learned a thing or two about the Nubi people. And yes, we are food lovers, so if you have a Nubian friend, ask them about kofta and gurusa. And I'm very sure if they're not selfish, they'll share the recipe or show you how it's done or invite you to have a meal with them, like I have invited Nicholas to have a meal with me. So I'm going to let you enjoy this
Yeah.
as I do some cleaning up. Okay. So bon appetit. Enjoy your lunch.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow. But I'm loving the mix of these ingredients. It's where you feel everything in it. Some people cook their foods, I cannot tell what they used. But here, like I was part of the cooking, but still I can know what was used.
And you can taste and feel.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. You can taste and be like, this is garlic.
Mm.
This is coriander.
Wow.
Interesting.
Well, if you're out there and you have the same story you would want us to cover, my number is always there in the description box. I'm also going to share
Naima.
Naima's number in my description box in case you want to reach out to her, get more information. And also she told us what she does. So get her number, talk to her. There's something you can learn. There's something always new you can learn. Oh God. I think this can live for hundreds of years. Yeah?
So the Nubian mat is kind of different from the other mats because of its texture and the very colorful, bright colors that are used to make it. So these are one of the things that I think we've managed to keep in our heritage for years. And so this is made out of, in South I think it's called what? Palm?
Palm leaves.
Okay, and sansa. Sorry for the English-speaking people. I don't think I know the name in English. Maybe I know, but I've forgotten. But in Nubian, it's called jaff. So this jaff is dyed, and we use natural colors to dye the orange, the green, the black, and the red, and then we make it. So apparently, every Nubian woman is supposed to know how to make the mats. I'm privileged to know. I know many people will be shocked, but yeah, I can make this mat definitely. But these mats were made by my mom and were gifted to me by her. And yeah, she made it herself.
So how much is each?
If you want to buy a mat, the cheapest you would get is 300,000 Uganda shillings, roughly $90 or $95 USD.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's that expensive. It's a mat that you not find very common on the market until you really order it from the Nubian people. And so you can see there are different patterns. We have this pattern for the first mat and this pattern for the second mat. So it depends on your preference. And then also there's some patterns that are specific for a wedding ceremony, a particular wedding ceremony. Yeah, so that's also a different pattern. But they're very durable. One thing I know about it, these mats are like roughly 8 years old, if I'm not mistaken. And they promise to live more years in existence. So yeah, there's value for your money.
So
for the
in case
Nubian
someone
mat.
wants to get their hands on these mats, how do they get them?
You can call me up and I can make an order for you. My grandmother, that is one of her trade secrets. She trades in mat making, crafts making. Even the kuta and the tabaga are made by my grandmother. So yeah, if you want one, you can place an order through me, and I can get you. I can hook you up with a mat, a kuta, or a tabaga for yourself.
I think that was it for this video. We have shared everything. Is there something maybe I would want to pack my food?
It's okay. I will pack for you your food so that you enjoy it with your family. And yes, in case you also want to order this food, you can call me up and we can place an order for you.
Yes, her number is going to be in my description box.
Yes.
Get it. I'm going to put it on the screen right now as you watch. So I want to share some of these foods along the way with my friends.
Okay.
I'm going to spread the news that I landed on one of the Nubians I've been looking for many years. Oh God.
Yeah, so thank you guys for listening, and I hope you've learned something, a thing or two about the Nubi people. And yes, in case you have any questions, Nicholas knows where to find me. And thank you very much. We appreciate you watching.
In case you want to meet her, I can bring you myself to her workplace.
Not my workplace.
No
we
workplace.
can have a private. Yes.
Yeah. But let us close the video. Unless, is there anything would want to? Is there anything we left out?
No, I think that's all for me and Naima Issa Sebi, aka the Nubian Queen. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed our Nubian cuisine.
Yeah, before we close, feel proud of where you come from, your tribe, your culture, your society. Be proud. That is what makes who you are. Is that right English?
That's what defines who you are as
Yes.
a person. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, bye bye for now. Let
Bye.
me enjoy my food in peace.